Welcome, sports fans, to the Cardinal Report. The North Central College men's tennis team just wrapped up its first regular season under coach Mike Patrick. The Cardinals will compete at the CCIW Championships this weekend in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Coach, you guys just wrapped up the regular season, 7-2 loss at the Ranch View Courts to Wheaton College. Coach, Wheaton, they entered the game with entered the matchup with a 3-10 overall record. Is that kind of a skewed record?
It is a little skewed record. They had a season of some close matches. They played some tough schools from Michigan, Indiana, and Iowa, and just some heartbreak matches they had.
You know, entering Tuesday's matchup, Wheaton last Saturday they beat, or Augustana actually beat the Thunder 5-4, and you guys beat Augustana earlier in this year 6-3. For Wheaton to come back and then to beat North Central 7-2, how does that all kind of work out?
Well, I've known all along that there's some great parity in the CCIW conference. Wheaton's always had a tough team, whether singles and doubles for the last 10 years, and you can never count them out, so I knew it was going to be a tough match going into it.
And after this, your first regular season at North Central College, has your kind of interpretation of the CCIW changed at all as far as the level of competitiveness?
No, I've been familiar with the CCIW for quite some time. I know that it's very important to have some strong guys from the 4 through 6 in your lineup, and the doubles momentum does a lot for you when you are successful to start out with.
Yeah, and that was kind of exactly what happened on Tuesday. You guys started with the doubles, and all three got swept by Wheaton College. The #1 doubles, Matt Boguslawski and Sam Sweeney, that was their first CCIW loss of the year.
Yeah, again, disappointing, but you know, I'm happy with what they've done in the previous part of the season. They've done real well at other places. Again, if you look throughout the CCIW, certain matchups have done well. I know that, again, like you said before, Augustana beat Wheaton. We've got a match today that's going to count a lot, so very happy with the guys as well, though.
Yeah, the match today is Illinois Wesleyan versus Wheaton, and right there you got a #2 team versus a #3/4 team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it'll be an interesting matchup. All the spots in those matches could go either way. I may even attend that match. We'll see.
And you're thinking right now North Central College finishes in 4th place in the CCIW entering this weekend's tournament?
I think that's the way it's going to fall because, again, we've had some exchanges of victories in the conference, and the way things are going to come down to individual matchups and this overall match score will determine where we fall.
Coach, heading towards the end of the season here, into the postseason, teams like Carthage, Illinois Wesleyan, and Wheaton, they've been a part of that kind of CCIW talk for a long time now, probably the last 20 years, where North Central College hasn't been a part of that talk. Do you think that plays any kind of role towards the end of the season here right now?
You know, they've had some history, but at the same time, every time we visit a CCIW school, the coach has talked about some of the players that we've acquired, and it's flattering to hear that we put a scare into a lot of teams. Ever since in January when we played University of Wisconsin Whitewater and Sam had a victory over Alex Lowe, that set a whole tremor throughout the D3s, not just the CCIW. So they knew that we were coming. They just didn't know what to expect throughout the rest of the lineup. And
what do you gather from the team as a whole? Is it a sense of kind of nervousness right now, or are they kind of eager to get to it?
You know, I'm sure there's a little anxiety, but everybody's excited to compete. I know that we've had a lot of momentum. There's a lot of team unity. A lot of personalities have gotten together over the last 10 weeks, and I think they're very excited.
Well, let's talk about one of those players for you that has been kind of causing that tremor in some of the opposing teams. Your #1 single, Sam Sweeney, he defeated Davis Moore of Wheaton 6-0, 6-3. He hasn't lost this year to a CCIW opponent. He hasn't lost in spring break.
Yeah, I'm very proud of Sam. He's one of those guys where you know he's going to give 110% every time. He's got a style of play that really puts a lot of fear into his opponents. He sets up points well. He opens up the court. He does a lot of things that really make the opponent nervous. He's been a great leader.
And can you kind of explain that a little bit? How does he put fear in the opponent or set him up?
Yeah, just the style of play he has. He's a very strong baseliner. He hits with a lot of pace on his inside-out forehand. he goes a lot for shots into the opponent's weakness, which typically for righties is going to be to the ad side or to the backhand side.
Now, the number 2 singles, Boguslavski, do they have similar games?
Both of them have come from an incredibly strong and successful high school background of singles. They are able to, they're both good-sized guys. They have a lot of pace on their shots, and they're used to being the dictator and imposing a lot of pace into their style of game. Yeah,
and that was pretty evident yesterday. It seems like Boguslavski can really take over some matches just with his serve.
Yeah, when you know, Matt's serve is a window to his game. If he's serving well, there's not going to be too many people that can get their racket on the ball, and if they do, it's probably going to set up a very easy short put away for him.
Now, Coach, the number 3 singles and number 4, Eric McKee and Josh Clay, they kind of been switching off that spot. Both lost their matches yesterday, but I don't know for Josh, he had won 4 previous to yesterday's matchup.
Yeah, you know, Eric and Josh have done a great job for us. Eric is a kind of a calculated all-court baseliner who hits with medium pace, and Josh is what we call on the team the mosquito, where he plays a very frustrating backboard ricochet, if you will, type game, where a lot of times over a duration of a game, an opponent's mentality is going to break down just because they can't handle the constant bringing back of the ball that he imposes.
Coach, talk about yesterday's conditions. Very windy, really cold. You're at kind of a court that's still pretty foreign to your players. Is that something, do you think that's going to present a problem to the CCIWs this weekend too? I mean, do you guys really concern yourself with the weather?
No, you know, yesterday we played at Ranch View, and it was basically our 3rd or 4th time being out at those courts. So our exposure has been very minimal. With all the precipitation we've had since even like the fall, we've got very little time to hit there. So again, even though, I mean, I can't blame it on the weather. I mean, they had the same type of wind and cold that we experienced.
Absolutely. Well, guys, every match has that one game that decides which direction the team is headed. Here's this week's Cardinal Crusher. Coach, he's been doing it all year. This is Sam Sweeney. He's just too much to handle for Davis Moore here. Some of those shots you were talking about. Sam, once again, undefeated in conference. Coach, all those shots going a little bit long. How does Sam set that up?
Well, again, like I talked about, you know, Sam's style of play, whether he identifies it as not, whether Sam identifies it or not, his type of pace and his depth that he puts on the ball and into the opponent's court usually will warrant a short reply from the opponent. So either that, or when the person comes in, that they don't know how to really hit or attack Sam. So a lot of times they'll end up making a lot of enforced errors. Sam will have a handful of winners in the match, but he'll usually cause a lot of errors.
Coach, heading into the CCIWs, how do you coach these guys? Any different from the regular season?
Well, one thing I want to stress to him today, tomorrow, and even on Friday and Saturday is, you know, we've had a very successful year. We've had a situation where we've had a lot of guys come together. We've had some exiting of players on the team. We've had a lot of team unity, and I want them to continue the fun that they've had throughout the fall, the winter, and the spring, and recognize the experience as something they can build on. And I think the talent and the confidence that they've put in is going to really be set forward this weekend.
And right now, Coach, construction going on for the new courts at North Central. You're getting ready to enter the off season. Just talk about recruiting right now in your first year. How's that been?
It's going all right. You know, we've got a couple of guys who have committed that could fill the slots down at the bottom around the 5 and 6 spots. I think a lot of people that have applied for schools in the past may have chosen Wesleyan or Augustana or Carthage as their first pick, and they've followed enough of the conference to understand that, wow, this school has now a tennis team, track is always solid, and we had a great football year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it should be exciting. Stay tuned, Redbird fans, as #1 single Sam Sweeney and #4 Josh Clay join us to talk all things Cardinal tennis. We'll be right back.